Hi, I'm Marilyn Sanclementi of Stamp with Marilyn, and welcome to my Creative Playground. Today I'm going to show you how to make these beautiful 3D peonies that are part of the Peony Garden set. This is one that I made using Flirty Flamingo, and then this one I made using Highland Heather. So I'm going to start by showing you how to color the peonies. So the peonies are made up of these 4 pieces, which are part of the dies that are in the Peony Garden set. So you would cut these out, and you can either cut these out of solid color cardstock, or you can cut them out of the white or vanilla and color them in. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to show you how to do that. And then the other thing that you need to make these peonies is you need a roll of glue dots, and also if you have some of the small dimensionals, that would help, or you can cut other dimensionals up a little bit and use those. So first let me show you how to color these as I did with these. And you want to color these ahead of time because they do need time to dry. If they're not dry, the paper will tear when you're putting them together. So you do need to color them ahead of time. I would suggest coloring them the day before and then letting them dry. So what I do to help me work with these is this is the base of the peony card, which is the largest piece, and all of this along the top and the bottom, and then right in here is going to be the outside edge of the peony. And it will make sense once you see how we put it together. So what I like to do is highlight that edge. I like to make that edge a little bit darker to just highlight the edge. And it will make sense when we start putting this all together. So I just go around, and I'm using an aqua painter, and this is Flirty Flamingo ink. And then I'm going to do this bottom piece. And you really don't have to be too exact coloring these. They don't, you know, flower petals have lots of variations of colors in them. So you really don't have to worry about being too exact. Okay. Okay, so now I'll put this down. So now what I'm going to do is fill in. Actually, it looks like I'm out of water in my pen. My pen's not. Okay, so you would color in that whole thing. Let me grab a different aqua painter here. There we go. This one's wet. So as you know, flower petals have lots of variation of color. So you could also color these with blends as well. And you could do the opposite if you wanted to. You could start with the dark in the center and then go lighter as you go out if you color with the blends. And actually, if you colored with the blends, you wouldn't have to let it dry either, since that dries immediately. So a couple of advantages there of coloring with blends. But anyway, okay, so this is how I have been coloring my peony flowers. When this dries, it will lighten up a little bit, and actually this one was a Flirty Flamingo. So it will look, when it dries, it will look a lot like that. And as you can see, I did highlight the edges because I wanted the edges of the petals to show, but then I let it fade a little bit. So the peony is made up of the 4 pieces, as I mentioned. So there's this large piece, which is the base. And this goes down in size. So what I do is I just lay these out by size. So you're going to start with the base, Then you have this piece, and this piece, and this piece. And I thought it would be easier for me to show you this if I cut this out of color cardstock, because then it's not white against white, so I just thought it would be better for the video. So the 4 pieces make up the full peony, and then if you want one that looks like a bloom, you could use either 3 or 2 pieces. So if you were going to do that, you would start with the 2 smallest pieces, and then it would look like a peony bloom. So, okay, so let's get started, and let me show you how to assemble this. And it takes some time, it takes practice. I had to watch a video a couple of times, and then I had to practice. So don't get upset if it doesn't work right the first time. So these are cut so that these bottoms line up. They all have this same ruffle, what I would call a ruffle on the bottom. Okay, so that's how they're going to line up. Like so. And you're going to start with, this is your first one, and that's the base. So what I like to do is I like to take a glue dot, and I like to put a glue dot, so it's going to line up here. I like to put a glue dot on this kind of little, I guess I'm calling that like a little hill. Okay, and then I am going to feed this in like this from the inside. So you're always going to work kind of inside out on this, and you line up that base, that bottom there, and then you just press that, and there's your first piece. And if you want your peony to be a little bit more 3D, since this is a 3D peony that we're making, you can take one of the mini dimensionals and put that on the back piece here. Peel that off. And that gives you a little bit of your dimension. And then you can also kind of just, not squish it, but just fold it a little bit as you're going along. So there's our first piece. And so now we're going to take the second piece, and also the key to this is to push this piece back, because that's, when you have this little opening, that's where the next piece is going to go. So you want to push that back. And again, we're going to put a glue dot on that little hill or spot. There we go. We're going to line that all up. So now we have that piece lined up. And if you wanted to, you could put a glue dot, a small glue dot there. So what I would do is put the glue dot in a different place. On the first layer, I kind of put it in the middle. So on this layer, I'm going to put it further down. You just want to make sure you hide it, because obviously you don't want your, I'm sorry, not glue dots, you don't want your dimensionals showing. Okay, there we go. So now you can see the peonies like really taking shape, and you can see where if you had colored the outsides of this, that would really make the petals kind of stand out. And that's why I suggested coloring the outside first if you're using a white one. You could also highlight this. You could also highlight the colored ones as well, too, with the colored cardstock. Okay, so now this is the last piece for the center of the peony. So you're going to push that part back. And again, I'm putting it on my fingers. Makes it easier. And we're just going to feed that in like that. And we're going to line up that bottom again. There we go. So where'd that bottom go? Oh, it's stuck. Okay. Oh, got stuck in another place. Okay, there we go. We're going to line up that bottom. There we go. So there's our 3D peony. And if you really, really wanted to make it 3D, you could put some dimensionals down on the front pieces as well. And then now we have the little stamen, the center of the flower. So all I'm going to do is take a glue dot, put that on the back of this, like this. And then this goes into the center of that little piece. And then you just attach that to the back piece of that. And there's your 3D peony. And again, if you wanted to make the smaller or do a bud, you could just use the 2-est little pieces, or you could use the three pieces to make a peony that's just starting to open. So let me show you a couple of the other peony cards that I've put together. And if you're interested, I have written a tutorial, documented a tutorial that you can purchase. This is another card. This is using the vellum. And to color vellum, you do need to use blends, because vellum is kind of plasticky, and so our regular inks, which are water-based, will not dry on vellum. But this one is just flipped going landscape. And you can see on these 2 cards, what I did was I colored the peonies in the background with the same ink. So, and then this is also another one that I did that's flipped landscape as well. And then the peony set also has 3 stamped peony images in it, and I have made some cards with that as well, and that's all part of my tutorial. So if you're interested, if you like the peony bundle, feel free, and there's a link right below this video to click and purchase or look at my tutorial. Thanks for stopping by today.